Okay, so with today's lecture, I'm going to speak about the financial planning continuation from our previous video. So I'm going to look at two variables, one which we have control over and one which we don't have control over. So let's look at the income aspect. We have income, which is one variable. You don't have control over the income, fixed income. For example, salary earners, you're getting salary on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. Those are fixed income. You don't have control over. Okay, you have your expenses aspect, which you have control over your expenses, which I think I'll spend a little more time on it. All right, so now there's a way it is possible you can increase your income, but let's look at the aspect where you can't increase your income. Increase your income in the sense you are a fixed income, you receive your monthly salary on a weekly salary wages or so, and you have another business aside boosting your income aspect. If that is happening, good for you. If it is not, let's focus on one aspect of the single salary earner. Okay, with that income aspect, you don't have control over your income. It's fixed income. $1,000 every month is $1,000 every month. You don't have control over it. Your expenses, right? Well, this is some of the mistakes people make, and I'm still making it. Your expenses, you have fixed expenses in that expenses for the month, and you have variable expenses in that expenses for that month. So people treat expenses as expenses. They don't consider the fixed aspect of it. For example, the fixed aspect of the expenses is rent. In some part of the world, you pay rent on a monthly basis. In some part of the world, you pay rent on a yearly basis, depending on how you pay rent. Let's assume you pay rent on a yearly basis, right? If you are paying rent on a yearly basis, what I would advise you to do, divide your rent by 12. You have your monthly rent. Match that your monthly rent to your income, to your fixed income. That's a fixed income, fixed expenses. Okay. Now, your other expenses for the month, like family upkeep, relatives, friends, charities, and the rest of it. So you consider that your expenses, variable expenses. The rent, fixed expenses. Okay, so you have control over your variable expenses. So what you will do to match that income, let's assume your income for this month, for argument's sake, your income for this month is $1,000, your salary, and your expenses for this month, $600 for this month. Okay, now your income for next month still remain the same, $1,000. You don't have control over it. Your expenses for this month, which been $600, you review expenses, right? Review expenses. So that brings about a concept called target costing. Target cost. You should have your target cost. This month I incur 600. Next month I want to incur 500. That's a target cost. Get it? That's a target cost. Now, at the end of next month, let's assume you incur the same 600 or more than that. Okay? So now, what you're incurring next month will be your actual cost. Now, what you should do, bring your actual cost on board, bring your target cost on board, match the difference between the actual cost and your target cost, we call that cost gap. There's a gap. So review your cost gap, review those gap, and your focus now should be how to close the gap. The essence of closing your cost gap will increase your savings. Remember, the financial planning aspect, you are saving for the future investment. I mentioned that earlier on. You want to save money for your retirement. You want to save money to build a house or buy a house in the future, buy a car. So that savings will not come from the sky. That saving has to come from your income. And that income, you have to discipline your expenses, right? So now, you bring in your expenses on board. You review your expenses one after the other. The one that you have control over, which are the variable aspect of it, the variable cost. The variable cost can be, now, last month, I gave some money to my mother, gave some cousins, family, relatives, friends. I went out for a party. I went out, hang out, and all those things. Okay, this month I want to reduce the hanging out. Yeah. This month I'm going to reduce the amount of money I give to my friends. Yeah. So you review your costs. These are variable costs. Your rent, you don't have control. These are fixed rent, a fixed cost. You have to pay your rent. So another mistaken belief people do, if you are paying rent on a yearly basis, what they do? You wait for the 8th month, 9th month, 10th month, start preparing for the rent. That's wrong. You are paying rent for a yearly basis, divide that rent into 12, start paying rent on a monthly basis on your own. Don't accumulate your rent at the end of the year to pay. You go helter-skelter. That's a mistake. If you are paying rent of, let's say $3,000 for a year, divide that $3,000 by 12. How much will result by month? Of your 1,000 income, right? You take your rent, save that one. That's the rent for this month. You pay the rent to yourself for this month. At the end of the year, you transfer the rent to the landlord. Ease, no pressure. You can never start to save if you don't discipline yourself. These expenses keep coming. They will never stop coming. They are recurring expenses. They're always there. They're always there. They're always there. So the aspect of discipline will help you to monitor your expenses, control your expenses to the way you want it. And don't forget your goal. You have to save. So now the income. Maybe you have that source of income. If you have that source of income, that's good for you. So there are two ways to save more. One, increase your income. Increase your income lines. So let's assume there is no way you can increase your income lines. Leave it as it is. Reduce your expenses. Right? I'm emphasizing this. You have control over your expenses. So review your expenses. So if you increase your income, you get more. But again, when your income keeps increasing, your expenses keep coming up. So that brings about the financial discipline. So once your income increasing, don't forget your expenses. Expenses should be the way it is, or push it down. When you push it down, you have more to save. And the more you save, the more your investment project comes in the future. The more you achieve your goals in the future. So this is one aspect of how we deal with the income and the expenses for individual. For business, the issue of cost gap is a whole selection on its own, which we will deal with later. So this is the idea with the income, the fixed income earners, and the expenses, how to review expenses, how to close your gap, review expenses for last month, work on those expenses, close it, bring it down, or remain the same. That's how we do for both the income and expenses. There's another mistake with the income. Remember, I've mentioned the mistake with the expenses with regards to your rent. There's another mistake with the income, which I will handle in the next video, wherein we tie down our income, we lock our income into projects, right? So what I think we should do, once we start getting an income, fixed income, think, how do I increase my income? That should be the first plan. Not how will I lock my income in the name of investment. You get it? How will I increase my income? So that's a mistake. I'm a victim anyway. All of us are a victim of those mistakes. You lock your income. You lock your income in a project. For example, you start building a house. You just started working, having your income. So you're not even planning of increasing your income. You're already locking the income. You got it. You lock the income. So what will happen will slow you down. Most people are fall victim of those situations. And what will happen? They will upsell the house. They'll upsell the investment or finishing it. Or you finishing sell the house because you are stuck. You're stuck already. You've locked your income. So once you start getting that fixed income, one source, try to get multiple sources of income. Once you start getting multiple sources of income, you review your cost. It's bingo. But I will do a video on the aspect of locking your income. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your review comments. And financial planning and financial discipline is a broad thing on its own, but I will do my best to be narrowing it for the individual and for the business. So my video today has been based on the individual, and for the business, I'll come in subsequent video how. But for the business, I will look at income lines. I will select a business as an example, look at the income lines one after the other, look at the expenses lines one after the other, even though expenses varies by nature of business, by environment. Okay, I will see how we'll do to embrace those expenses, embrace those income that will fit to your business, and we'll focus more on the cost. For business, we have control over our income too. I will discuss that one. Yeah, I will discuss that one in detail when it comes to business. Thank you.